Welcome back, everybody. It is time for some more HGC action. We had our first series of the phase. It was a 3-0. RR struggling in that first best of 5. We're going to perhaps a closer one with longtime rivals Raven and BlossoM. They were both at the bottom of the list last time, and they definitely took some games off each other. So we'll see who's on top here at the beginning of our second phase.
Erase that completely off of our minds. They both teams have new rosters.
That's right.
A lot of new players came in. Also, a very hyped new player came in. Not just Modern Life. It's like Modern Life coming into phase number 1. It's the hot new kid on the block is Gondar. Also Dagon on the ladder. He's a very, very strong solo Hero League player up on the Grandmaster chart. So let's see how he adapted into the team play coming into the season. Maybe he's very nervous because this is going to be his very first time in competitive. So we'll see if he makes a really great plays coming out here.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of hype behind this player for a very good reason. So he's like the only player in this tournament that hasn't really been very much known and been around for a long time and played in a lot of different tournaments. He's kind of like Modern Life in that way, where he's a new player on the scene that no one's really heard of, just came fresh off the ladder in a lot of ways. So, you know, he's one of the reasons why they might be able to do much better than they did last season, referring to, of course, BlossoM. Let's hear from the players, G-Clef. It's time to see what they have to say.
안녕하세요. 이번에 새롭게 레이븐으로 합류하게 된 다르비시 민성민입니다.
레이븐 팀의 지원가를 맡고 있는 조주라고 하는데 아이디를 바꿨거든요. 촘으로 바꿨어요. 제가 좋아하는 애니메이션에 나오는 애완동물 또 이름이거든요. 그래서 제가 좋아하는 캐릭터의 애완동물이 되고 싶어서 촘으로 바꿨습니다. 좋게 지켜봐주시면 감사하겠습니다. 근접 딜러 포지션을 맡고 있는 해파리 선수가 일단 템페스트로 이적하게 됐고 저희 팀에 이제 서브 딜러로 다르비시 선수가 새로 들어오게 됐습니다.
지원가를 하다 보면서 좀 안 맞는 옷을 입고 있다는 걸 알게 됐어요. 그렇게 되면서 이번엔 앞라인이 아닌 뒷라인으로 다시 가게 됐어요.
저희 팀 전부 다 공격적이었거든요. 다르비시 선수는 수비적인 그런 성향을 갖고 있어서 이제 밸런스가 굉장히 잘 맞춰진 새로운 레이븐을 보실 수 있을 겁니다.
제가 들어오게 되면서 팀원들이랑 어색할까봐 팀원들 이렇게 통솔하면서 좀 친해지라고 떠넘겼어요. 귀찮은 거 하기 싫다고.
메인 딜러였던 하멜린 선수가 지금은 서브 탱커로 바꿨거든요. 하멜린 선수가 굉장히 공격적이었는데 더 공격적이게 할 수 있게 더 날카로운 칼을 쥐어준 느낌이랄까?
이걸 레이븐이 이겼어요.
당연히 우승이죠. 네, 우승하면 좋죠. 우승하면 좋죠. 네.
레이븐을 응원해주시는 팬분들이 많으셔가지고 재밌는 경기력으로 보답드릴 수 있게 노력하겠습니다.
저희 팀 저번 시즌에 안 좋은 모습 많이 보여드렸는데 싹 다 잊어주시고 우승 후보답게 우승을 향해 끝까지 달려가 보도록 하겠습니다. 레이븐 화이팅!
You know, it feels like a lot of happy words, the rebuilding of the team, Darvish coming in as a sub-DPS, but we have to talk about the dark side of the new roster is H82, their star player, has actually moved on, went into Tempest. And one of the main reasons, because he's replacing Modern Life, that a lot of people think Tempest is going to be much stronger going into this phase. We'll see if Darvish can make the splash that he's expecting to, but it's a bit of a surprise to see such a star player like Darvish, who was on top of the hero scene since its beginning, playing, of course, back on Team Hero, then moving into Miracle after the 2016 season when the new sister team was formed, now dropping down into Raven. And you have to really respect his ability to say, look, I think this team has potential, didn't do very well last season, defended its position in the Crucible, to say, I think I could serve this team better, and I want to stick with this one. So, you know, I feel like there's definitely going to be some synergy here that wasn't there before, potentially, as, of course, Joju changed his ID to Calm, or Comb, I guess is how you pronounce that.
I guess Chom?
Chom?
Is the way?
Okay, I guess we're going to call him Chom. But with Chom now, you know, he's not a new player, but he's sticking with the support role. So Karazim, Malfury, and Rhaegar, these are the heroes that Darvish played in the past because he's a support player, but he's not going to be playing that anymore.
And he is the key player, as you can see on the point. King, the Korean commentator, picked up all the key players from each team and wrote some sentences, and good-looking young man, as you can see from the picture. I feel like Darvish, as they were missing some pieces, feels like they were missing some screws in the team. without H82, I think Darvish as a flex player, I think he can mash in like Kyocha for MVP Black. He can go in, fill in all the holes, and Chum can just pick the support, and Darvish can just fill in all the holes and make this team complete. I think that's what he's trying to do here.
Absolutely. Looks very happy today as he jumps into this new team for the first time. But we're going to, of course, take a look at their opponents here in just a moment. The reformed, perhaps upgraded BlossoM. Perhaps a little bit longer than I thought. Okay, here we go. Take a look. Take a listen.
안녕하세요. 블라썸에서 메인 탱커를 맡고 있는 곤다르라고 합니다.
블라썸에서 지원과 포지션을 맡고 있는 위즈 선수라고 합니다.
블라썸으로 이적해서 서브탱을 똑같이 맡고 있는 모던 라이프입니다.
아직 대회를 안 해서 그런지 긴장되는 건 없고 설레고 재밌을 것 같고 그래요.
일단 예전보다 연계가 더 좋아졌고 브리핑이 훨씬 더 많아져가지고 팀의 화합이 더 좋아진 것 같아요.
서로 재밌게 게임을 하는 것도 있고 멤버가 바뀐 이후로 협동이 더 잘 되는 것도 있고 팀워크가 좋은 것 같아요.
게임을 다 잘 해요. 네. 특히 곤다르한테 좀 많이 관심을 가지고 있어요.
예, 처음이에요.
네? 아니요.
그 친구가 팀 게임이 좀 경험이 적다 보니까 아직 좀 미흡한 부분이 좀 있긴 한데 아직 얘가 젊고 패기가 있는 친구라서 충분히 잘할 수 있을 거라고 믿고 있어요.
블라썸한테 승강전 진 거는 좀 메타가 가장 컸던 것 같아요.
메타가 가장 컸던 것 같아요.
사람마다 생각은 다르니까요. 그렇게 생각할 수 있죠.
그냥 그런가 보다 해요. RRR은 그냥 별로 개의치 않아요.
지금 상대 전적이 4대 0인데 10대 0으로 만들어드리겠습니다. 저희 팀의 목표는 세계대회에 나가는 거.
지금 MVP 블랙 빼고는 거의 다 비벼볼만 하다 생각하고 있어요.
이번에 새로 탱커를 맡게 돼서 들어왔는데 세체땡이라는 소리를 들을 수 있게 노력하도록 하겠습니다.
전 시즌에는 대회에서도 긴장을 너무 많이 해가지고 좋은 모습을 못 보여드렸는데 이제 그걸 극복해내고 열심히 해서 좋은 모습 보여드릴 수 있도록 열심히 하겠습니다.
So, this is the new reformed BlossoM. Gondor and Modern Life, the new players to join the roster. Big hype and a lot of pressure on Gondor as he is moving in with so much pressure on him. And as was said in the interview, this team is known for playing more Hero League than anybody else. They play a lot of games, they practice really hard, and Gondor is the player that everyone is saying is perhaps going to be a new legend in the Heroes scene. And so BlossoM is very fortunate he's going to be picked up by them. Modern Life as well, two sides of the coin for him. A lot of people said it was incredible what he was able to accomplish as a new player, but oftentimes he was the brunt of many criticisms on Tempest. He's moved now into this new team, and I feel like he's got a new name. He wants to make a new name for himself with this one. We'll see how well he can perform. He's going to be listed as key player here as Ragnaros and Zeratul, quite fearsome. Mysterio was definitely decent as well.
Yeah, this is also something that worries me. All of his hero pool, in this meta especially, has went down. Is significantly on Ragnaros and Zeratul as Genji and Aluva came along. Ragnaros also through the patch got nerfs in a lot of his talents. So, but one thing that's going to help that for Gondar is Modern Life already went through his phase in phase number 1. As Gondar is a new player into the scene, he can help him to climb up very quickly into the team and they can mash in together. It'll take some time, of course.
It will definitely take some time. So, he's about to become a sophomore but transferred to another team. So, we'll see what he could do. You know, in such a short period of time as well, Modern Life was able to play in the Eastern Clash. He was able to go to an overseas tournament, play in front of that live audience, get that experience, and he looks very confident going into this one. So I'm hyped to see what Gondar could do, though. He's the one I've got my eyes on, as Modern Life said. Feels so weird to call him Mora. I'm gonna have to get used to that one. But as he said, everyone is looking towards this player who's so strong, out of nowhere, Says it's his first match ever. He's coming in as a tank. He wants to be the world's best tank. And now that Noblesse has retired, perhaps he can slide his way up there. It's going to take a long time to get as much respect as Noblesse has demanded for so long. But we'll see if he can make it happen.
Yeah, also the biggest question for BlossoM, and also the reason why they picked so many heroes, was because they could not really find the right color for the team. They were trying so many things, and the time passed by. The entire season, entire phase was gone by the time they tried to make put some color onto the team. Let's see if they can do it in this phase number 2 in this meta right now.
Well, Tomb of the Spider Queen will be our first map. A ban on Dragonshire, however, for Raven, so that's unusual.
As Raven is more likely a team that wants to team fight, and because Dragonshire is a little bit more of a macro play oriented with Deaka, lots of the Deaka picks, Raven used to just ignore the macro and go into team fight only team comps oftentimes. So maybe they're still adjusting to all the macro plays and they banned out Dragonshire. That's one of the reasons that we can find on.
Yeah, keep in mind that was their best map actually in the past, but that was because of H82. This new roster perhaps not going to be as easy for them to synergize and make it happen. So as we move into this, it will be first ban for Raven.
Of course, BlossoM really loves to play on Spider Queen just because Nochat had all of his heroes, Falstad, Zarya, and Nazeebo's coming into play. This is the map, and also Wiz's role came into place oftentimes. Let's see if they changed along with the meta. They seem to be keeping their own meta when the entire meta of the world was shifting.
Tassadar will be banned here away, so this leaves a lot of top-tier heroes for Raven. Notably Genji and Anubarak being available here. It is going to be the Genji coming in. BlossoM will likely take the Anubarak, but with what? It's going to be Tychus Malfurion. High Tychus prioritization here. All the way to the top. Quite unusual.
Prisoner Tychus with the Zebra is the perfect combo.
It is the perfect combo.
It is the perfect combo.
No one's ever found a better combo.
Yes. But Tychus picked first. That's very unusual. Maybe BlossoM is already looking to, because Raven, they are likely going to pick Anubarak, very heavy tank oriented. They're trying to reduce down the tank ability from the front line, trying to reduce down with the percent damage of minigun.
Well, let's see what Raven will respond with here. Definitely weakens the Anubarak pick that Raven is definitely considering right now. So let's see what they want to toss into the ring here. Definitely a lot of time being spent. I think they were pretty surprised by this prioritization. This is going to be the Anubarak with the Grey Mane. So even though we didn't see as much prioritization out of Korea of the Grey Mane in the mid-season brawl as we saw from Europe, in terms of the lower teams here from the 4 we've seen so far, he is definitely up there. So really top-tier DPS, top dog, top wolf here as we'll come and get locked in. So BlossoM now looking for a ban. Could be the support choke here with Uther banned.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I was thinking that will be number 1, and number 2 they can also go for another tank ban because they will have 2 slots open for them right after. So they can grab 2 tanks right after. Anubarak picked already. And okay, they are going for the support choke. Rehgar banned. Tassadar also banned. That's going to limit a lot of Genji against some CCs, especially something like Uther Storm. When he comes in, he's very vulnerable. He can die instantly also. Against lots of CC, that's going to be a big trouble. So Raven removing Stitches. Malfurion Stitches is the duo right now, is the pair.
So, New Dougie Stitches, said the Korean name. Stitches will be banned.
I thought you were saying New Doggy, but...
That's like the first time I've ever
Almost out
actually
there.
made that mistake on air, like in my entire casting career, is to accidentally speak Korean. Stitches is banned here. Removed from play now, and that's obviously because of the pairing with Malfurion. So another surprising ban there coming out from Raven. So BlossoM is now looking for their main tanks with Anubarak and Stitches removed. It's definitely going to be a Muradin draft. The question is, who will he be with? I think the Arthas pick is a strong one against the Grey main and especially the Genji. So, and even against a dive coming out from Anubarak, I think he's definitely going to be the one you want to lock in here.
And some off picks, but it came out sometimes, especially from Roll20 from an A, is Medivh. I think BlossoM may go towards that way, or even Chen coming out. And this was the map that they did beat MVP Black
ETC
22-0.
ETC with the Arthas.
Okay, they have to be hiding something here. I'm feeling it right now. I'm feeling Medivh, but BlossoM did pick Medivh once or twice in phase number 1, I believe. Let's see if they can make it happen once more.
This is interesting. So if you grab Li Ming to round that out, you've got a pretty well-rounded composition. You have some of the good CCs that can help deal with the Genji. You have the entangling roots, you have power slide, howling blast, and also the slows that Arthas can put out. So this is a pretty solid lineup of heroes for BlossoM. The ETC a little bit more unusual, but very strong for the map because of early game rotational pressure, the gank potential there, the burst damage coming out from Tychus, and a solid wave clear. I like where BlossoM is going with this. Raven spending some time considering support options here. Karazim is the most likely pick, but maybe considering that Morales that we've seen so often on this map from the bottom tier teams. It is going to be Tyrael and Karazim that come in. I say bottom tier, but I mean the teams towards the bottom of the round robin stage. Raven, BlossoM, GG would use the Morales every now and then on this map specifically, but it is going to be the Karazim we expected.
So lots of burst damage. Also, Karazim can do chunks of damage when close to you. And Tyrael is going to, with that Holy Ground and also Sanctification, will probably provide extra protection. But what is BlossoM hiding for the last pick here? They picked all their tanks. They have Tychus damage, but that's not enough damage to take out everything. It is going to be the more common pick, Li Ming at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I think this draft for BlossoM is really well-rounded. The draft for Raven started off good because they had Genji and they had Anubarak, which felt, okay, this is impervious. How can they lose with this composition kind of feeling, right? They have the top-tier heroes, but the way it rounded out when it finished, when they got support choked into the Karazim, they're forced to use the Tyrael here for protection. Suddenly, the draft of BlossoM doesn't feel insanely strong, but it feels more well-rounded. Good for the map with the ATC early game pressure. We're going to go into game number 1, though, ladies and gentlemen, of our second match here for HGC Korea Phase 2, starting things off on Tomb of the Spider Queen. In blue, Team Raven is Darvish on Genji, Hamlin on Tyrael, NMX on Greymane, Diyoung on Anubarak, and Chom on Karazim.
And in red, BlossoM, Wiz on Malfurion, Gondar on ETC, Mora on Arthas, Dudu on Tychus, and No Chat on Li Ming.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
This is why Darvish came out from Hero. He wanted to play Genji. That's exactly why.
That's the reason. You solved the mystery.
I did.
Isn't that the cutest Gazlo you've ever seen?
Sprays are real, man.
Sprays are real.
Heroes 2.0, and No Chat a little bit worrisome on his Li Ming. I think it's also the very first time I see him on Li Ming. As he was indeed playing lots of other heroes though, so don't mark my words there. But one thing to fear about is the palm. If he does not get the kill, he does not get the reset, then he will lose a lot of the burst damage during the team fight. And I think Karazim picking Li Ming when there's Anubarak on the other side with the ability armor, spell armor, and also Karazim for the palm just for the save. I think BlossoM may have some trouble getting those kills.
Yeah. Well, it's really interesting too. We didn't talk about the position swap too much about Wiz playing support now. He was such a dominant figure in terms of ordering, as we call it in Korea, which means shot calling. he was the one who would sit in the top lane, solo lane, make macro decisions from there where he had, you know, less micro-intensive things to do. But now that he's playing support, it's going to be a little bit tougher for him to sit up there, you know, kind of on his, I guess you could say throne almost, you know, just sit up at the tall chair at the top and say, this is what I want us to do, this is where I want us to rotate. When he has to be rotating himself at the same time, a little bit tougher to be aware of the macro. So curious to see how that's going to affect the team, if they'll eventually move into having a different shot caller on Mora up here. So he is going to get the double root here to turn this one around. Darvish late on the deflection, actually will have to blade dasher, sorry, switch strike away. So that was a nice turnaround there. But yeah, just curious to see how well he's going to do on the support role.
Yeah, he will still be shot calling on the back line. For Korean players especially, it's usually the frontline warriors doing the shot call and also doing the draft in the team, likely for Black and Black doing Kyocha's doing the shot calling.
Look at that. That's a first blood. Grabbing Greymane there and killing him immediately. And MX getting blown off the map. It's already a good start here for BlossoM. Does have a slight lead in terms of gem possession currently. I'm never going to get used to calling Modern Life Mora, ever.
And also Chom.
Yeah, Chom.
It'll take some time.
Considering Joju's played heroes since day one, since season 1 of Super League in 2015.
Also, when I see Kurzim, I think it's Darvish. But now he's on to his own. He's gone back to his hometown, which is Assassins.
Well, we are going to see the Chom camp taken down there, so we'll have the neutral camp. Nice thing to do when kind of behind and under pressure is to try to sneak away a camp, and they will get it. Mora actually going to get caught here as well in the solo lane, but again gets the root to escape. BlossoM has enough to turn in. 6 carried currently, all on Mora, however, so they're going to need to collect a few more since he's been zoned out from the turn-in locations.
I think wave clear, in terms of wave clear, BlossoM has a slight edge on top. Raven, of course, also lost Greymane in the middle. It's costing them big when they're trying to release the pressure from all lanes. As BlossoM also has ETC. If they had the lead, they can turn it a little bit quicker too.
Okay, here comes the turn in from Mora. No one there to deny him. He will get it. And that is going to be the first Web Weavers going over to the side of BlossoM. And they have a decent amount of sieging power because they have Li Ming in this call position, so they can definitely do a lot of poke and actually heavily damage a fort. Since they're not going to be ahead of EXP in this stage, they're not going to be looking to try to hit level 10 off of this Web Weaver push. They might actually commit heavily to a lot of fort pressure. Let's see how they want to play this one. They need to be careful because there's massive counter engage on the side of Raven with Karzim, Greymane, and of course the Anubarak especially. And don't forget Genji, who can also dive in. There's a lot of dive on Raven, really, when you look at it. So they need to, if they're going to do that sieging poke, they need to be very far back while doing so.
They will be pushed because of the wave clear. Also, these Web Weavers pushing. They need to wait for 10, really use the Cocoon and Sanctification perfectly to have the burst damage.
They're going
in the target. Because they know they have to leave. They have so much CCs available, and Raven does not have so much damage right now.
They are just sticking onto this fort. They are pushing it hard with a 3-man in mid. No Chat gets caught here by Darvish, though. This is almost certainly a kill. Nope, doesn't have the dash.
I guess he already used it to catch on to Li Ming.
Yeah, so didn't end up getting the kill there, but 2 forts heavily damaged from this. Mora will be pushed away now. But the mid fort is almost dead. The top fort gets taken out, it looks like, and they retreat away. So a lot of significant damage done here for BlossoM. Because of the talent tier advantage wasn't the goal with this because of how close they were at EXP, but fort damage was the goal, and they got it done big time. Usually don't see this much success with the first Web Weaver push, but BlossoM certainly made it happen.
Yeah, you see the big rotations coming down with the ATC, having that power, having the early lead. They're really trying to push it to 410 and really make that happen from the beginning so they can explode the game before Raven tries to catch onto the level.
Well, level 10 is almost done here for BlossoM. They're sitting soak now. Raven with a large amount of gem possession here. 46 currently held, only 29 required for the turn-in. And because look at the positioning on the minimap, BlossoM has map control right now because of all the lane pressure from the Web Weavers, so it's impossible for Raven to get a turn-in now, and unfortunately because they weren't able to do it pre-10, it's going to be even more difficult because BlossoM has the heroic advantage. and they're very close to having enough gems, 44-55 currently. So...
And it is going to be Mosh Pit. It's going to give another pressure into the front line as Arthurs will be pressuring hard onto them. They really need to release this pressure, so instead of taking the middle camp out, they want to get their own camp, try to buy some time to soak up to 10. But before 10, maybe BlossoM can hit 12, I think.
Yeah, I think that's pretty reasonable to assume at this stage, G-Clef, so...
Because they can have another turn in, and Raven is holding 63 right now. Because if they try to turn in, they're gonna be, all the lanes are gonna be even more pressured while that time being, and that's not even guaranteed. Because BlossoM has that all the presence throughout the map with the ETC, and also Tychus and Liming with the burst damage, they have to be careful because they're not 10. They just hit 10, but already BlossoM will get their turn in.
They get it with almost exactly what they needed to. One extra gem for Mora he's holding right now. And Raven, you know, they have the heroics available now. The Dragon Blade, the Sanctification, these are really powerful. Seven-sided Strike actually chosen that can punish someone who's cocooned very hard if they're isolated from everybody else on the retreat. But again, the sieging power of Li Ming, Tychus' wave clear, these are tools that make BlossoM's web rear pushes very strong.
Ooh, and no Palm. Maybe they want to go all in, try to get the front lines down, Arthurs and ETC down with the seven-sided strike. They're thinking Sanctification may be enough to take down the power of Li Ming's reset potential. Let's see if that costs them big, or maybe it will save them from winning the team fight.
Definitely could. Okay, here comes the dive. Dion comes in first. The root for the disengage. And there's the Maj on top of a great silence coming in from the Twilight Dream. But it's not enough to get the critical mass resets here. Now the dive coming in from Darvish. Looks for the kill into Gondor. Does drop the Dragon Blade here. Mora very, very low. Does come in. The Sanctification for the second dive coming in from Dion. Will secure the first kill here for Raven.
But does not give any resets to BlossoM because they could not get any kills. Arthurs was at the bottom lane, which removed a lot of the damage potential that BlossoM could have done from the beginning. They could not get a kill, but they're pressuring hard again here.
No chat with the early disintegrate, perhaps to get vision of who was going to stick around and who was rotating to deal with the pressure in the top and mid lanes. Almost overextended himself there. Does get away. Not sure if we'll be able to say the same about Gondor, though. It just barely does back off. Sorry, my Lord of the Rings brain wants to say Gondor, but it's Gondar. All these new names.
I'm impressed from his ETC plays already.
Yeah.
He seems very calm. He seems on point. His positioning, also getting his mosh pit on the 2. Of course, not enough follow-up damage. Did not get any kills, but right now that team fight and the positioning that he's taking, he's really good right now.
Big invade here from BlossoM, and they have to respect that positioning you just mentioned there. As ETC helps them secure this, they steal the cap. And with the timing of this web weaver push, it was pretty desperate. Raven needed to get a turn in really, really badly. Otherwise, they risked losing a team fight, getting wiped, and losing their carried gems. This web weaver push is going to do very little structural damage because of the wave push, is the wave positioning. As you can see, it's mostly a cleanup push right now. Web weaver's not even halfway across the map at this stage, but at least they got to deposit the gems. They will be able to safely soak for 13 now with this, and maybe get a cannon tower or two for their troubles if they can find a pick. And it's not that they don't have enough for another one. They're going to have it soon if they don't have it already because of how long it's taken them to get the turn-ins. But we'll see if they can carry the momentum forward. In fact, the top push already going onto those cannon towers. BlossoM looks to collapse into that push right now. Low chat from the south here as Dion dives in. Gondar, very aggressively positioned here, will actually take a lot of damage. They just get the cannon towers, and that's going to be it for this web weaver push. Not even quite getting them to 13. We'll see how many gems they have carried, though, as this one falls, because I think they're going to have enough for another one very, very soon.
It's going to be close.
Yeah, 96. They're carrying 96. They have almost enough for 2 more, so this is not actually a wasteful push. They needed to deposit the gems, and they have the opportunity to do that again.
As Darvish is holding 26, and also Dion holding 26, and Gondor maybe have overstepped, but no CC's following up. Very quick reactions too there.
the synergy with the dives from DeYoung was strong at the beginning of this game, but it feels like they are falling apart a little bit. Disintegrate used here to get him out of the cocoon. No Chat, though, is chased and taken out immediately in the fight. Twilight Dream for Wiz here will help secure the turnaround kill. Mosh Pit comes in. The dance continues. No interrupts here. This can turn the fight for BlossoM. Huge stun coming in, though, from DeYoung. And Darvish is going to dive in with the Dragon Blade. As the deflect wears off, though, he takes a lot of damage, but he does get the kill there in the end. Does die. A lot of gems lost here on the side of Raven, but they do win the team fight.
What a crazy fight. If they had Li Ming before with the mosh pit, they could have got a full wipe almost instantly, but losing Li Ming from the beginning, and Raven really, they were spread it all apart, and ETC was looking for that angle to power slide in, press that R button for the dance, but it was not enough until the Li Ming, and Li Ming was focused from the beginning of the fight, and Raven really made their focusing work together.
Well, this is going to be the second Web Weaver push with all those gems carried, and they will have a third one ready right after this. We always talk about how the objective on this map isn't as strong as some other maps, and you could definitely have comebacks here, even with the dominant performance of BlossoM in the early game. So let's see how this one pans out. The 5-man push goes mid. They want to find some very permanent damage here on this fort. BlossoM hits 16. We may see them collapse in to try to punish the positioning here of Raven. Very difficult to do, though. Their comp is not as dive focused. They have the ETC to look for picks and stuns, but they have to be careful about the counter engage with DeYoung on the Anubarak here. No Chat, very hyper aggressive with his positioning. Remember, he's not normally playing ranged DPS like this, like the Li Ming. He's more of a kind of hybrid DPS or like a full stat specialist type player. So, you know, the Nazebo you were talking about earlier, we didn't end up seeing in this draft. So definitely paying for it sometimes here. We do see the 7-sided strike come down onto Mora. Does self-heal and will get away with using his heroic, but that's a pretty good trade. Just a rotation gains them to the heroic. And as I said, almost another turn in here for Raven. They're 12 gems away at 48 of 60.
And BlossoM also has enough. They have 62. If they are able to turn that in, they will have the wave pressure off of them now, and they have all forts down onto Raven's side. And they're even going for this camp due to, I don't think he can solo this. It will be very tough.
I mean, he might just barely be able to do it, but it's going to cost him a lot of his health. They want to aggressively contest this turn-in right now. Darvish actually rotates up after killing the fort, so they get 16, Raven does. And Darvish is coming in. I believe this choice to have Tychus solo the camp is definitely an interesting one. The camp isn't going to accomplish very much for them at this timing in the game either. Relieve some of the pressure now left over from Raven's last Web Weaver push. But he definitely could have helped them contest there for a potential turn-in.
But with the, it's costing it. That's an investment they made, and it's working so far.
Oh, this could be a huge mosh. Doesn't actually commit to it there. Web Weaver, or sorry, the Cocoon completely knocked away very quickly in that fight. Disintegrate the MVP here. Holy Ground, a big problem. He can't get into heal.
Hamlin gets very low, cannot drop the Sanctification. It was on cooldown, and maybe he tried to put it and it was cancelled while he was trying to channeling.
There's the kill on the Tome as well. Wiz tried to, I think, get a Twilight Dream there. It didn't end up being necessary. The Holy Ground, really good zoning, actually, but in order to use the Holy Ground, he found himself trapped and got caught there and punished. Now BlossoM's going to look for the 15-minute boss. And this is really going to be pretty impossible to stop, right? I mean, Sanctification would have been a great tool here. Got canceled in the last fight. He died. And now this is just a free boss on an already weakened top keep. No cannon towers to buffer for this. And BlossoM is already looking for the pick here onto DeYoung. He does burrow charge away. This could be just a straight-up free keep. I mean, there's not a whole lot of poke. There's not a lot of siege for Raven to stop this. I think it's a keep minimum. If they get some picks, they could try to end with this. Going to help push them towards a faster 20 as well.
They have lost, and the Web Weaver pushing very soon. I think they may actually go for the core. They do have Mosh Pit. If they can get 1 or 2 picks here, it's going to be game for sure. Oh, even Odin Pop, they're going all the way in. They want to do as much as damage possible before the boss and the Web Weaver comes into the core. There's a Cocoon to isolate.
Okay, big stuns coming in, though, with the burrow charge. DeYoung is diving big. Dudu, can he survive through all this damage? Looks like he just barely will there. Mora doing so much peeling here, so much extra slows to allow his team to retreat. Now they're going to re-engage here with the Mosh Pit. That's already the immediate... No, the Sanctification! He's not going to die! He lives here! Hamlin, just barely, but it won't matter. He goes down in the end. 7-side used to buy time. The boss goes down here, but so does Karazim. NMX just barely survives, but the core is now under attack as it looks like BlossoM wants to close this game out. A hard-fought one, definitely not one-sided. There were a few signs of life here for Raven, but at the end of the day, it is going to be the cleanup and the win. Level 20 reached here.
Archon, 100% win rate for sure. That's the end of it. Raven will lose game number 1, and BlossoM, a little surprising win actually with Gondar. I was wondering how well he can adapt it to the team, but with that ETC, I thought ETC was totally out of meta, almost out of meta. No one picking ETC as a frontline warrior, but he makes ETC look so strong right now.
Definitely. Well, this was a pretty cool, I mean, it was just a showcasing of better team fighting out of BlossoM. I really felt like their draft was better overall. The Tyrael and Anubarak combo can be very strong, but they could never actually have the interrupts for the mosh pits correctly. And Gondar showed already good ETC play on his opening game of HGC. Good positioning, diving when appropriate, finding those moshes. Mosh, something that we very rarely ever see have as much impact as what he had put it into that game. They lost the one-team fight where they didn't have enough DPS to punish the Mosh, but the big takeaway for me for this game is despite the fact that Raven lost that game, the one player I really want to focus out of all 10 who played better than he did, I think, all season long, who's clearly shown signs of improvement in this first game, is Diyoung on the Anubarak. Looked really on point. Had a few mistakes in terms of positioning and being aggressive where his team wasn't with him, but I would point more towards coordination as to why those didn't work out. But accuracy, the 4-man burrow charges we saw consistently there, knowing when to go in. I feel like if the Tyrael play was better, might have had to say, the draft, even though it didn't feel like it was perfectly synergized, was better if they could execute each time with the sanctifications. They couldn't, however, but I already see improvement in Diyoung, and that is making me happy.
I totally agree. I thought Diyoung played his part more than his part for Anubarak. That's exactly why Anubarak is so powerful right now. If they had some more picks the wave clear, I think from the very beginning, because they lacked in wave clear so much, maybe not even going too far for Gudam, but not Genji. I can't really think of any other hero, but with some more wave clear, I think they could have had the more macro play. They were losing in global pressure because of ETC going across all the lanes, and also wave clear really pressuring in all lanes that costed them big from the beginning of the game. Basically, I think it all started from the snowball started from the wave clear until the very end.
When they got the double turn in, that was, I think, where it really started to not cement the game, but led to massive advantages. The first level push that came out for Raven was basically just a cleanup one, and then their second one didn't do as much as they were looking for. So the game's over. Let's kind of push it behind, and let's see what comes forward here. The drafting we saw from Raven was a lot more standard, and of course from BlossoM as well. Both teams drafting a lot more standard than we saw RRR drafting in the previous series. So leaning towards more what we expected to see from what we've come to know after watching the mid-season brawl, where our IP Korea. I want to see him in Twitch chat EU greater than KR. I want to see him come out. Okay. I look. We have some downtime here.
Hey, but
we had to bow down to our
let's
EU
go
overlords.
let's go back to 2015 where Team DK dropped down in the top 4, and then next year 2016 Korea topped all charts, and we're back now with the mid-season brawl. Of course, EU first, second, KR third, fourth, but for BlizzCon, who knows?
So
and the chat will respond to you.
So, yeah, I mean, I think we have to say only time will tell. There were a lot of retirings and things like that, but the top tier teams are not going to be the top forever. Otherwise, this wouldn't be an esport, right? So change is good. Change is good.